I welcome the opportunity to speak on this financial bill this evening. I was in Ashburn last week calling to some houses and I got talking to a man and his son, and he told me that he was tired of hearing constant negativity from some quarters of society. He wants a positive narrative about the country, and I agree with him. And I think we can look forward and be optimistic that as a country we are moving in the right direction. There are positive signs out there. We're on track to get our deficit below 3% of GDP. By 2015, our GDP increased by 0.7% in 2011 compared to the first 3 quarters of 2010. And as you know, our exports are growing very strongly, and our tourism figures are constantly increasing. And of course, this week has been a very positive week for job creation in Ireland. We've launched our action plan for jobs, and this multi-annual plan is a firm commitment from the government to create a renewed environment for enterprise in the country. It's not a typical government plan. Each of the 270 different measures contained within the plan has an identifiable agency or department who is responsible for overseeing it within a given timescale. And of course, there are going to be quarterly reviews led by the Taoiseach's office to ensure that these measures are being implemented on the ground and they are working. And if a measure isn't working, then we're going to be able to review that and work out why it's not working and try to put it right. This morning's announcement of the renegotiation of the Memorandum of Understanding is also positive news. The government is in office for almost a year now, and we've been consistently arguing with the Troika that any money from the sale of non-core state assets should be used not just for debt repayment but for other things as well, for instance for investment and job creation. And I'm glad to hear that that argument has been listened to, and I understand that Minister Howlin will be presenting proposals to his cabinet colleagues in the coming weeks about how some of this money can be invested in the country to generate jobs. The finance bill in front of us tonight is another example of the government's focus on job creation. Measures in the bill are designed to support investment, allow for more research and help to create more jobs. And this bill is just part of the wider government strategy on job creation. I particularly welcome the Minister's focus on the BRICS countries. The potential of the Irish exporters to expand into the BRICS countries is the one that I've raised before in this House. Let's not forget that Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa represent 40% of the world's population and 15% of the world's economy. They've got a growing middle class whose discretionary spending is growing as their economies grow. China alone has 30 different cities with a population of 1 million people or more. There are huge markets there where we currently have very little presence. I've been to cities like Wuhan and Guangzhou, each of which have populations greater than the population of the whole of Ireland, but yet which have very few Irish goods on sale and little penetration by Irish firms. From Moscow to Mumbai, from Sao Paulo to St. Petersburg, there are millions of citizens out there who have money that could be spent on Irish goods or in Irish towns, and we need to get into these markets. I think the finance bill before us contains measures that will help firms from Ireland to do this. If employees of Irish companies spend a minimum of 60 days in any of these countries, then they'll get tax breaks. And of course, the Irish employee will be able to work with the embassies or the consulates in each of these countries to further their knowledge of the local economy and find business who would be interested in dealing with them. We don't want to forget as well that just last year the Taoiseach called back the ambassadors from all of our countries overseas to come to a meeting here to look at ways how they could help to generate investment and trade opportunities for Irish companies. It's another example of the joined-up thinking that exists at the heart of government. We're committed to trying to improve the level of job creation and the number of jobs out there. I think it's important that we keep an eye on the programme. I think it's important to expand the programme that is contained in relation to employees overseas. If it works out, I think we should think about expanding it to other countries, non-BRICS countries, to make sure that we can gain as much as possible in relation to trade and investment from those countries. It's a very positive week for job creation in Ireland. All government TDs and departments are working together to help create jobs and to get people back to work, and I think this bill is another example of that work.